Here are my top 25 rankings from last week. What will this week's rankings look like? Stay tuned and find out. What's up, college football fans and fellow members of Mountaineer Nation? This is Couz, and welcome to another edition of Couz's Corner, your go-to channel for sports with a heavy dose of West Virginia Mountaineers. Before I go back to my whiteboard to give you this week's top 25 rankings, I want to ask that you please subscribe to the channel. When you subscribe, it really helps me get my channel to grow, and also give me that thumbs up button. It's not that you like me, but the thumbs up button, it helps with that YouTube algorithm, helps keep my channel being pushed on YouTube, and helps more people find my videos, and will help my channel grow. And in the comments, let me know what you think when I get to the end here. Let me know what teams you think need to be in the top 25 and what you think about my rankings. So without further ado, let's head to the whiteboard. Here I am, back at the whiteboard to give you my top 25 of the week. Just like last time, I'm going to give you my top 12. I'm going to kind of explain to you why I have them where they are. Then I'll show you 13 through 25. Let's get started. Number 1, obvious, Georgia. Didn't play this week, didn't have to. Arguably the best defense of all time as of right now. Number 2, the Cincinnati Bearcats. Escaped a close win over Navy at Navy, 27-20. But they did win, and it was on the road. Had that been a home game, I might have dropped them a little bit, but Navy's not an easy team to play against with that offense they run, and they're still undefeated, so they're still at number 2. Everybody has a bad game. Key is they find a way to win even when they don't play their best. Number 3, the Michigan Wolverines. Yes, I bumped Michigan up this week. They just had a dominant 33-7 win over Northwestern, and the teams ahead of them, Oklahoma, didn't look as good, and Michigan State had an off week, so I bumped Michigan up to 3. Number 4, the Oklahoma Sooners. Had them at 3 last week, dropping them down 1 because they barely beat the Kansas Jayhawks. Yes, that's right. The Kansas Jayhawks. Oklahoma barely beat them. Kansas was actually up 10-0 at halftime of that game. But Oklahoma did come back and win, so they stay in the top 5. But if Oklahoma doesn't stop playing down to their competition, they're going to end up getting beat before the year's over. Number 5, Ohio State. Another dominant win, 54-7 over Indiana. They continue just basically to bash everybody. So bumped them up to 5. Number 6, the Alabama Crimson Tide. They were at 7 last week, but they had another dominating win, 52-24 over Tennessee. Conference opponent, a rival game. So I bumped them up 1 to number 7. But that loss to Texas A&M still haunting them, keeping them out of the top 5 in my poll. Number 7, Michigan State. Michigan State had an off week. They didn't play, but because the teams around them, most of them played well, I had to bump them ahead of Michigan State. But they have a chance to move back up because they play Michigan this week. So Michigan State's at number 7. Number 8, the Oregon Ducks. Close 24-21 win, but it was on the road at UCLA, who's a good team, and it's a conference game. So I'll put Oregon at 8. They're still in the top 10. Not looking that impressive, but they're winning. Number 9, Ole Miss. Ole Miss continues to look good, especially offensively. Matt Corral continues to be in the Heisman race. They had a convincing 31-17 win over LSU over the weekend, so I bumped them up to number 9. Number 10, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. As I predicted, they beat the USC Trojans. Actually beat them worse than I thought they would. I thought USC would make it a closer game because it's a rivalry game, but apparently it didn't matter. Notre Dame was just too good. USC is just too bad. So Notre Dame come out with a 31-16 victory at home against the Trojans. Number 11, the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Yes, They are still undefeated. They put 70 points on the board over the weekend against Army. They did allow 56, but nevertheless, they won the game. They're 8-0 on the year. As of right now, them and Pitt are probably the two top teams in the ACC, and will probably, looks like they may end up clashing at the end of the year in the ACC championship game for a potential spot in the college football playoff. Can you believe that? Wake Forest and Pitt might be fighting for a spot in the playoffs. Unbelievable. Number 12, the Kentucky Wildcats. They were off this week, but a couple teams ahead of them lost, so I bumped them up to 12. And their one loss is still, their only loss is to Georgia, so I felt they deserved to be in the number 12 spot. Now, take a look at 13 through 25. Just to touch on some notable changes in 13 through 25, Oklahoma State dropped from 8 to 13 after their loss to Iowa State. Iowa, who didn't play this week, dropped from 10 to 14 because their loss last week to Purdue looks bad now because Purdue got smashed by an unranked Wisconsin team at home. And also, Iowa's win over Penn State a couple weeks ago don't look very good anymore because Penn State got beat in 9 overtimes to an unranked 2-5 Illinois team. That also caused Penn State to drop down to number 19 this week. They were at number 11 last week. Also, Coastal Carolina was at number 13 last week. Lost a close one to Appalachian State, an unranked team, so that drops Coastal Carolina from 13 to 23. It's only one loss, and I know it's a big drop, but Coastal Carolina didn't have room for error because of their strength of schedule. Iowa State's in this week at 24 after their win over Oklahoma State. They're doing what Iowa State normally does. They're playing their best football the second half of the season. And as you see, after their win over the weekend, BYU's back in at number 25. Let me know what you think about my rankings. Don't forget to subscribe. Once again, I appreciate you tuning in. And take a look at this video, which is my review of the West Virginia Baylor game. Until next time.